Welcome back to this channel. Today I'm going to recap the episode 5 and 6 of Creature Commandos, but before that, let me quickly recap episode 3 and 4 to carry you along. General Flag, GI Robot, Dr. Phosphorus, Weasel, and Alexei went to rescue Nina and the bride, who is being captured by Cersei. We suddenly get a flashback of GI Robot, who got dispatched with the American army to fight some Nazi soldiers. Unfortunately, the Nazi soldiers ambushed them, which led to half of the American soldiers being killed. GI Robot saved their lives as he is bulletproof, and he single-handedly massacred the Nazi soldiers in the scene. After the war, GI Robot is being celebrated by the Americans' politicians for helping them win the war, but the robot sees tattoos on their necks which made him think they are also Nazi soldiers. When they called in GI Robot to give a speech, he suddenly sends bullets flying in the scene, and kills everyone. That was the reason GI Robot was locked up in the non-human internment division prison, which is controlled by Amanda Waller. Back to the present, when General Flag and his team enters the building to see the bride tied to a chair, they become at alert as Cersei might have placed a trap of some sort there. General Flag removes the tape from bride mouth to find out that Cersei and her men have escaped. GI Robot goes upstairs to free Nina, who is being tied up in a bathtub. General Flag is confused, because why will Cersei and her men attack her and just leave her here alive? Just as he figures out her plan, Flag orders his team to rush back into the van. They quickly hurry to the prince's castle as Cersei led them here on purpose, because she wanted them to be far away from the castle so she can easily kill the princess without their protection. Cersei men attacks the prince's castle, and begin to murder all her guards. One of the guards managed to get the princess, but doesn't completely follow the orders of Cersei, who wanted her men to kill the princess on sight. The guard wants to have a taste of her before he kills her. The Creature Commandos arrives at the scene and engage in a gun battle, but Cersei men are too many to take out on their own. Flag suddenly gives a creepy smile after figuring out an idea. He lies to GI Robot that Cersei men are Nazi soldiers, which made GI Robot to unleash dozens of guns around his body and starts killing all the men, making them to gain the upper hand. Cersei suddenly shows up and blasted GI Robot body to pieces with her powers. She flies directly to where the princess is, and tries to kill her, but Weasel emerges out from nowhere, and bites her off the balcony. While he uses his claws to slash her, Dr. Phosphorus uses his hand to turn her face into a good barbecue. After they captured her, she tells the Creature Commandos that they have doomed the world. Meanwhile, Elizabeth, a lawyer for Weasel, is angry when John, an assistant for Amanda Waller, refused to let her see her client. He lies to her that he's sick, but sees how a terrible liar he is, after seeing Weasel returning from a mission. Just after the Creature Commandos return to prison, Eric, who has been tracking his bride, grows so jealous when he sees the bride looking at General Flag with a sexy look. The men he paid to show him the location of the bride tells him everything about General Flag, and Eric becomes insecure as he thinks the bride loves his handsome stupid face. A bearded face. Able to grow hair. Eric, with his childish thinking, suddenly guesses the men he's with might be judging him for not being able to grow hair on his face. Angrily, he kills all the men in the chopper. Elizabeth meets Weasel and we find out his real name to be Johnny. He is happy to see her and she gives him chocolate. Elizabeth asks Flag where he took Weasel to, and introduces herself as an attorney with the Freedom Project, representing Weasel. General Flag tells her that Weasel killed 27 children, but Elizabeth replies he was just accused of, and unfairly convicted. Cersei is captured with a restrained hand so she won't be able to cast spells, and is brought to Amanda Waller for investigations. Amanda Waller asks her what she was doing in Pokolistan. She replies that she was trying to save their worthless lives from Princess Rostovik, the Pokolistan princess. She was trying to kill Princess Rostovik to save the world. She tells Amanda Waller that she wants to show her the future, or she can perhaps stay a pig in the slop of her own ignorance. They checked Cersei files, and find out she's clairvoyant, which means she has the ability of seeing the future. With her hands restrained, she can't cast spells, but she still might be able to get into someone's head. On the other hand, Elizabeth shows Weasel photos of the kids he was accused of killing, and we suddenly see a flashback that explains to us what actually happened. When some kids were playing football, a little girl spots Weasel and gives him her chocolate. The other kids joined in, and they acted too kind to him as they gave him apple and other food they had. Weasel ends up joining the kids in playing football, but a neighbor returning back home misinterpreted the whole situation, thinking Weasel was attacking the children, so he calls the police. The children sneaks into the back of an open house and he follows them. The children mistakenly starts a fire. The neighbor grabs his shotgun and tries to kill Weasel thinking he is trying to harm the kids, but ends up sending his bullet at a petroleum tank which led to a massive explosion that killed all the children, except from one who Weasel tries his best to drag out from the burning building. The police arrived at the building, and when they see Weasel dragging her, they shoot at him thinking he was trying to harm her. Because of them, the girl also perishes in the fire, while Weasel is captured and blamed for their deaths. On the other hand, Amanda Waller enters Cersei's cell and she gets into her head to show her the future. Amanda Waller saw how Princess Rostovik attacked the United States of America with her unstoppable army, killed all the superheroes and the millions of citizens in it, and then, becoming the new president of the US. Amanda Waller is so terrified after seeing the future, but to be sure that it's not a mind game Cersei is playing on her, she invites Professor McPherson to the prison. The professor assures Amanda Waller that everything she saw is real, because all incidents Cersei predicted in the past came to pass. Amanda Waller is assured that Cersei cannot be able to imagine futures, so everything Cersei showed her is genuine. Amanda Waller suddenly commands Flag to gather the commandos back to Pokolistan, and kill the princess. Flag doesn't want to do this as he doesn't believe everything Cersei showed her. Flag refuses to lead this mission and leaves, but Amanda Waller has someone in mind to take his place. Inside the prison, some bigger prisoners tries to bully Nina and take her food, but Bride confronts the prisoner and kills him with a tray pan. Jon enters the scene and tells Bride that she's going to lead the team to Pokolistan, and kill the princess. Flag tries to contact the princess to warn her, but her guards couldn't understand what he's saying because he speaks English. Eric attacks him from nowhere, saying she will never love him. Flag is confused but still tries to defend himself. He jumps on Eric back and threatens him not to move with a gun to his head. Eric cries when he calls her princess, and says she's his bride and not his. Flag suddenly realizes that Eric is talking about the bride, not Princess Rostovik, and clears out to Eric that the bride and him has nothing going on between them, because she's not his type. He tells Eric a beautiful romantic story about him and Princess Rostovik, and tells Eric that they should do a trade-off. He helps him help the princess, and he will help him with the bride. Episode 5 begins with Professor McPherson teaching the kids about Themyscira, while Eric and Flag spies on her outside the window. Professor McPherson is the one who claims Cersei visions about the princess are real, so he wants to search her house to find out the truth about her, so they can stop the creature commandos who are on their way to kill the princess. The scene suddenly takes us to a flashback, where Eric killed Victor, the bride's lover. Out of anger, the bride sets his body on fire, but Eric is able to quench out the fire in a nearby river, but falls unconscious. He is found by an old woman who uses oil to treat his wounds, and even started to like him because of his humors. After a while, Eric got to know about the location of his bride, but the old woman who is now fond of him, cries as she doesn't want Eric to leave, because she will be alone. Eric kills her believing he's doing her a favor so she won't be alone. Meanwhile, the creature commandos led by Bride this time, arrives at Pokolistan and are welcomed by General Alexei, but he feels it strange for them to be back so soon, but Bride lies that there is another credible threat, so they are here to protect the princess. Alexei pours out his frustrations that ever since 100 years, Pokolistan has been at peace, but ever since they opened communications with America, they are just facing one threat to the other. Flag and Eric sneaks inside Professor McPherson's house to investigate her, but sees her dead body on the chair. That means the one that met Amanda Waller is a fake, like some sort of disguised artist working for Cersei to throw them off track. Flag manages to reach the princess on the phone, and informs her about the creature commandos being sent to kill her. They see the fake Professor McPherson arriving at the apartment, and they quickly hurry to hide themselves. Princess Rostovik informs Alexei about the plans of the creature commandos, so he decided to change route and takes them to a place for ambush. Flag and Eric discovers that the fake Professor McPherson is no other person, but a dangerous mutant, called Clayface. He noticed they are in the house, and attacks them. He beats up General Flag half dead, and tries to suffocate Eric, but he reaches out to a naked wire, which he uses to electrify Clayface's body to pieces. Just as Alexei takes the creature commandos to a location, where the Pokolistan army ambushed them, Dr. Phosphorus kills him, and they all emerged out to fight the army. Dr. Phosphorus takes the fight to another level, and kills many of them in different styles. Same goes for the bride, while Nina, the weakest amongst them, hides in a nearby building. The soldiers inform the princess that the creature commandos have escaped. The creature commandos have been misled by their government, so Princess Rostovik has no other choice as she sends her whole army to find and kill them. The next and final episode for today begins with Dr. Phosphorus, who tries to escape out of a truck, but he is recaptured and taken back inside. Back to the present, Dr. Phosphorus and the rest of the creature commandos are seen hiding from the Pokolistan military, who are in search for them. Bride and Nina hides themselves in a room full of prostitutes. The military show up to search the place, so Bride threatens the boss of the girls to tell the military that they are not here. When the military enters, the girls acted just as they are told. Meanwhile, Flag is being rushed to the hospital after a massive beating from Clayface. Amanda Waller finds out from the doctors that it was Eric that dropped Flag at the hospital, and figures out that he will be on his way to Pokeliston to stop the creature commandos from killing the princess. Amanda tells John to go get operatives watching the airport immediately. At the airport, Eric kills 2 VIPs in the plane, and threatens the pilots there to take him to Pokeliston, as the woman he loves is about to make a tragic mistake, and he needs to warn her as she is about to kill someone she shouldn't kill. Eric believes that once he saves Bride from making this tragic mistake, he's sure that she won't be able to deny that he and her are meant to be together. While Dr. Phosphorus enters a building to hide from the military, he sees a child's frame on the wall and memories flashes through his mind. A flashback is shown of Dr. Phosphorus who is playing with his kid. He had an argument with his wife who doesn't want him to work for some bad people, but Phosphorus doesn't have a choice because their funds will help him in his research, which is about a nuclear fusion treatment that destroys cancer forever without harming the patient. But sadly, those bad people he's working for killed his family in a horrific manner, and places his fingerprints on the knife to make the feds think he was the one who murdered them. The bad men pushes him inside the nuclear fusion machine, and decided to make the whole story seem like a nuclear scientist who went crazy, murdered his family, and committed suicide by atomizing himself with nuclear energy. On the other hand, while Nina and Bride continues to hide in the room for prostitutes, 2 men enters inside and takes one of the girls upstairs for sex. But they maltreated the girl, making her boss angry, telling them to get out. The boss figures out that one of them is a metahuman. They attack her, but Bride and Nina comes to the rescue. The metahuman sends Bride flying with his lightning, but this gets her pissed off. She pulls out her jacket and breaks the guy's arm, before plugging out his heart as he watches in horror before he dies. At the ending of this episode, Dr. Phosphorus comes out of the machine alive, and gets his revenge on all the bad men that killed his family. But unfortunately for him, Batman shows up and captures him. That was how he ended up in prison. Amanda watches the unconscious body of Flag in the hospital, hoping he makes it alive, because she wants to know what happened to him. And that was how this episode ended. Thank you for watching, guys. If you don't want to miss out on next week's episode, please subscribe to this channel and keep watching. Bye.